Hello, Year 8, and welcome to this lesson, which is about the causes of the Industrial Revolution. You'll do this lesson over two parts, and I'm going to talk you through what it should look like. For those of you who aren't in my classes, my name is Miss Lytas, and I'm one of the humanities teachers. If you need any help with this lesson, make sure that you email your actual humanities teacher, not me, although you're very welcome to email me to tell me how fantastic you found this video. All right, so like I said, today's lesson is about the causes of the Industrial Revolution. To start this lesson, you're going to have to do the very important first thing that you should do at the beginning of every lesson. I'll give you a second to think about what that is. What is the first thing you should do at the start of every humanities lesson? Hopefully what you thought of was I should go on Compass. If that's what you thought, you're 100% spot on. For every humanities lesson, you should be going to Compass before anything else to see what is happening. When you've got a lesson that is set online, what you should see is a title for the lesson so you can see what's happening. And then a learning checklist that will go through the steps that you need to complete by the end of the lesson. You'll see up here that anything in orange is to be posted on Google Classroom. So at the beginning of the lesson, have a look and see what, if anything, you need to be posting onto Google Classroom. So you'll see for the first part of the lesson that should be done today that there are 4 steps. And the first one is to go to the neighbourhood lesson. For a lot of these lessons, you'll be doing your lesson across 2 different platforms. So you'll have the neighbourhood lesson open, and then you'll also need to have Google Classroom open. Luckily, when you work with this learning checklist, there'll be links to show you what to do. So the first thing you need to do is to go to the neighbourhood lesson and click into it. When you do that, it should look like this. And when you scroll down on the lesson, as you can see, it's about the causes of the Industrial Revolution in Britain. Let's go back to the learning checklist to see what we need to do next. You'll notice that step 2 is the engage section of the lesson, and what it says to do is to read the learning intention. So if you go back to your neighbourhood lesson, you'll find the heading engage, and then you'll also find the learning intention and the success criteria. So the learning intention for today's lesson is to explain the pest causes of the Industrial Revolution in Britain. PEST is an acronym that we looked at in the very first lesson of this unit, and it stands for Political, Economic, Social and Technological. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to describe a political, economic, social and technological cause of the Industrial Revolution. All right, we've just ticked that off our checklist, so let's see what we've got to do next. We'll need to click back and go to step 3. Great, so step 3 says explore, so we'll need to move to the explore section of our lesson, and it says to watch the video and then create a mind map. So let's have a look at what that would look like. You'd need to click back to your neighbourhood lesson and scroll down. You'll see the explore title, and then you'll see a video here from ClickView. Let's scroll down to see what else it says. You'll notice that there are 4 steps to completing this explore section. The first one is to create a mind map. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. The next step is to watch the video, which is up here. You should be able to click play or click this link. You will need to use your school login to watch the video. To do your mind map, there are 2 steps. I'm going to show you what this is. All right, so if we head back to step 1, it says to create a mind map with a heading in the middle that says what caused the Industrial Revolution. If you look to the left side of my screen now, you'll see that I have done that. Here is my heading that said what caused the Industrial Revolution. I recommend that you use an A3 piece of paper to do this if you have one. You're also welcome to use a computer-based mind mapping software if there's one that you feel comfortable with. All right. Step 2 is to watch the video, and then step 3 advises you to create some general bubbles that come around the side of your mind map. This is up to you how you'd like to do it, but I recommend leaving 8 spaces for general bubbles. you are going to do some general bubbles in today's lesson while watching the video, and you're going to add some more general bubbles in the next lesson by reading some further material. So make sure that you leave room for more general bubbles tomorrow for tomorrow's lesson. The general bubbles are essentially subheadings. They are topics that cause the Industrial Revolution. So again, it is up to you what general bubbles you write, but I've given you 4 suggestions that I think are relevant based on the video, but you are welcome to do your own. If you scroll down in your neighbourhood lesson, there is also step 4. And what step 4 says is, from each general bubble, attach at least one specific evidence bubble which will include a key fact from the video. I would say that by the time you finish this video, each of your general bubbles, which have a general topic, should have at least 3 specific evidence facts. I'll show you what that would look like. For example, as you watch the video, there will be a section on the Agricultural Revolution. And one thing you'll hear in the video is about a new invention called Jethro Tull's seed drill. So the specific evidence I have put next to the Agricultural Revolution is the invention of that seed drill, because that is a specific piece of evidence or fact of how the Agricultural Revolution led to the Industrial Revolution happening. So now you need to go ahead and watch the video and create your mind map. Once you've finished that, there is one thing left on today's checklist. So let's click back to have a look. The final thing on the checklist is the explain part of the lesson. And you're being asked to read the information and answer the question on Google Classroom. So if we go back to the lesson and scroll down, we'll get to the explain section of the lesson. And there are 2 short sentences for you to read. They say, the causes of revolutions are complex and involve many factors. The main factors are political, economic, social, and technological, acronym known as PEST. The Industrial Revolution began in Britain before spreading to Europe and the rest of the world. Your step is to go to Google Classroom and under classwork, answer the question by writing 2 pest causes of the Industrial Revolution. Let's go back to Compass. You'll notice that there is a link to click, which will show you where the question is that you need to answer. So let's click on it. When you click on it, it should take you to the question. It takes a little bit of time to load. So here we are, right below a political, economic, social, or technological cause of the Industrial Revolution. You're being asked to write 2. So having a look at your mind map, you need to pick out 2 causes, and you also need to work out, were those causes political, economic, social, or technological? I've given you some sentence starters here that will help you write your 2 causes if you need to. So for example, if we think back to the invention of Jethro Tull's seed drill, you'll need to decide what kind of cause that would be. So very importantly, don't write your answer as a comment. Click into the question so that you can answer it. And what I would probably write would be, a technological cause of the Industrial Revolution was the Agricultural Revolution, which included inventions such as Jethro Tull's seed drill. That would be one of my answers. Go back to your mind map, pick out 2 things, and make sure you write if they are political, economic, social, or technological in your answer. That's it for the first part of this lesson. I'll now step through the second part of the lesson. You might want to pause here and listen to this recording over the next lesson, or you might want to watch the whole thing now. It's up to you. So if we click through to our next lesson, it's the second part of this lesson. So we've got the same learning intention and same success criteria. When you go to your learning checklist for the second part, you'll see this message here. And it says, this lesson continues from the previous one. You'll need to complete the learning checklist from the last one before starting on this one. So there are 3 steps to today's learning checklist. The first one is to go back to the neighbourhood lesson. And there are two sections left of the lesson, the elaborate part of the lesson and the evaluate part of the lesson. So let's have a look at what that would look like. You need to click back into the lesson and go down to the elaborate section. Step 1 is to read the information posters below describing the causes of the Industrial Revolution in Britain in more detail. So once again, reading the information below, you need to add in more general bubbles and more specific bubbles. You'll need to click into this document and you'll see that there are different topics that you might do. So what you'll need to do is click this arrow here, and when you do that, it'll open a document. And there are a number of posters in this document that have extra information about the causes of the Industrial Revolution. There are 6 posters in total. Some of them match topics that you looked at in the video, such as the Agricultural Revolution. So if you were going to look at this one, you would use this poster to make more specific evidence from your mind map. But you'll notice that there are also some new topics. So, for example, number 3 looks at the mining of coal. That would need to be a new general bubble on your mind map. I'll show you what this would look like. So going back to our steps, you'll see that step 1 is to read the information posters, and then step 2 is using the posters, add more general topic bubbles and specific facts. So when I looked at these posters, there were 4 new general topics that I saw. Again, your mind map is up to you, so you can do it differently. But the 4 general topic bubbles I added were the mining of coal, the emergence of capitalism, population increase, and political changes. They are the 4 general topic bubbles I added. The next thing to do is to go and read those posters and find some specific facts. So if we go back to these posters, and I'll need to change the size obviously so we can all see. The one I wanted to look at was the mining of coal. And if we have a look at this information, it says, another reason for the start of the Industrial Revolution was the mining of resources such as coal, which were vital to the processes of industrialization. For example, Britain was the first to industrialize and had large supplies of coal present in the country. Coal was a necessary ingredient in the industrial process as it fueled the steam engines that were used in trains, ships, and all other sorts of machinery. So if we go back to the lesson, I also need to add some specific facts to my general topics. So based on that information, I've added 2 specific facts. Firstly, that Britain had large supplies of coal, and secondly, that coal was needed to fuel ships, trains, and other machinery. All right, so once you've finished reading through the posters and putting in the new stuff of your mind map, you're onto the final part of the checklist. So let's have a look at what that looks like. The final part of the checklist is to complete the evaluate lesson section of the lesson, which says using 4 colors, categorize the bubbles on your mind map. Take a photo of your mind map and add it to Google Classroom. So let's have a look at what that looks like. So if we scroll down to the evaluate section, step 1 is to get 4 colors, red, yellow, green, and blue. And then we have to go back to the causes that we identified in our mind map and color them based on what category we think they would fit under. Okay, so you can see that we've got the 3 pest causes here: political, economic, social, and technological. I now need to go look at all of these different causes of the Industrial Revolution and decide what kind of cause they might be. Note that some of them might actually be 2. So for example, political, any causes related to the government need to be in red. And you'll notice I've got a general topic that says political changes. That one's pretty obviously going to be political, so I've circled it in red. You might want to color it in, you might want to use a pencil or a texter, whatever works for you. You'll notice that things that are social, which are related to people's lives, well-being, or health, need to be in green. If you look at population increase, I've done population increase in green because the fact that the population was increasing and people were living longer and there were more people is a social cause. If we go back to agricultural revolution, you'll actually notice I've got two colours there. That's because I've decided that firstly, it's economic and also that it's technological. I've done it economic in yellow because farms are a business and farms sell things to people. So I think that's related to money and the economy. I've also done it in blue because the agricultural revolution led to a lot of change in technology. So I've highlighted it in blue as well. The final thing that you need to do is go back to your checklist, click the link to Google Classroom and submit this mind map.